I'm going to ask you first to introduce yourself and tell people basically why I'm talking to you. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine, Rob. Well, hello. My name is Lee McGeorge, and I am an electronics engineer, and I am the inventor of a device called Audio Adventures, which is a little handheld branching adventure system. So it's like the old choose-your-own-adventure books, but plays out like a radio drama. So you listen to a story, it's been acted out, and then you choose what you want to happen next. But it also has reaction games and puzzles and exploration adventures. So there's a lot happens, but it all happens with sound, and there are only 4 buttons to control everything.
Excellent. So I assume you're sighted, Lee.
Yes, I'm sighted.
Right. So what makes someone sighted do this, rather than invent or work on a new games console or something like that?
So it was just happenstance. So for many years I worked in hospitality. I was a hotel manager, and I knew electronics and I knew coding, but as a hobbyist. And then during COVID, I lost my job and I was suddenly unemployed at the start of lockdowns. There's no way I'm finding another job. And I had a little electronics set, which my wife had bought me a few years before, that was gathering dust. So I got this out and I was really enjoying it. And I thought, I'd love to do an electronics degree, but all the universities are closed. So I just downloaded all the materials to do that and started working through a degree, like working through all the material. But because there is no, there would be no certificate at the end. There would be no diploma. So I thought I need to find or invent something that I could show at a job interview. It actually began as a submarine game that was all based on sound. I just wanted to make something with sound. And then I realized, this would be really useful for somebody who is blind or visually impaired. And then I set off on a quest to try and find somebody who was blind. Now, this might sound easy, but it was really tricky. I went to charities. I was saying, please, do you know somebody who's blind? I was putting out a word on Facebook. Has anybody got a blind relative? Or because I just didn't know anybody. And eventually it was somebody got in touch with me through Thomas Pocklington Trust, a young man called Ed, who was a young man. He loved video games and he'd just had a stroke and he'd lost his central vision, but he'd also had a stroke. So he was struggling with cognitive things like turning on the radio. So I sent him the prototype and he tried it and he came back with all of these suggestions. He was fantastic. But it made me realize, wow, okay, we can't have Bluetooth pairing for headphones because if somebody's got a cognitive problem, that's difficult. So let's keep it wired headphones. He wanted it larger. He wanted the cartridges what the games come on to be physically larger. So his input really shaped the device. So it wasn't that I thought, I'll make something that's really useful for people with low vision. It was more about I had this one person who was a tester who was the most perfect person because he'd lost his vision. He was completely new to this world that he's in. And because of the stroke, doing ordinary things had become very difficult. And I thought, if I can make this device suitable for him, it's going to be suitable for just about everybody.
Excellent. So what happened next?
So next I thought, well, maybe I could, at the time I realized, okay, I've got something I know that people would like. That means going to try and bring it to market, which is difficult. And I thought I'm going down the route of Kickstarter, which is a website. Kickstarter is where you can advertise a product that you haven't invented yet. You haven't produced it, and people will buy it in advance. And I went out, really, I didn't know this space, so I had to go out and try and learn about assistive technology in the marketplace, which was a nightmare, to be honest. I almost gave up a few times. And I started out by visiting charities, which seemed to me, because I had zero knowledge, so I thought this is the place to go. And especially the RNIB is literally 10 minutes from my home, like the headquarters in North London. So I decided to head over to RNIB, and they were just coming out of lockdown. People were working from home. I was being given email addresses and telephone numbers, and I couldn't get in touch with anybody. And like nobody was responding to emails, not just RNIB, I mean all the charities across the board. And I was just I was like banging my head off a wall thinking, well, nobody's interested. Nobody wants to talk to me. And just when I was close to giving up, I finally got through to a man called John Casely, who is involved in Technology for Life with the RNIB. And he is a diamond. So if you ever come across John Casely, shake his hand and buy him a pint. Because he's such a lovely guy, and he said, this needs to be out there. People need to see it. He spent an hour with me. We talked about the product. He gave me so many pointers. So I then went away for the next few months, really believing, okay, this has a future. And I worked on the product to get it to a point where I could take it to Kickstarter. We launched it on Kickstarter, and we hit our funding target in the first 60 minutes. So within an hour, we had enough people buying it to make sure it became a real product and it was going to get launched.
Brilliant. When was it launched? And
so I was going to say the Kickstarter was August of 2024, and then the delivery for that we did about March of 2025.
It's much more recent than I realised.
Oh, yeah, we're brand new. So the version that we have out now is kind of it's the working version. We're still tweaking it, so we keep changing things. Every time we do a production run, we find different microchips, or we put in a different speaker, or we find a way to make the plastic a bit more robust so that, because one of the things people said is this needs to be strong. If we drop it, accidentally kick it when it's down on the floor, it needs to survive this. So we just keep trying to make it just a little bit better, a little bit easier.
I drop my phone every day pretty much. So yeah, it does need to be.
It needs to be robust.
It was launched in 2025, March 25, with what, the Bewilder game to start with?
Yes, we launched with 3 games with Kickstarter. And the idea I had was I was going to get third-party developers to come in and make games for me. And I recruited some really great people who it turned out they didn't have the skills. So I was looking for people interested in coding and in games, and I was finding people who had worked in making mobile phone games, people who had worked on, Xbox and PlayStation games. And they were great people, and I was to discover that they had the wrong skills. What I needed was people who could tell stories, people who could write stories and produce audio dramas. There's a thing with these games, a little bit like mobile phones, you need to have something happen about every 40 seconds. So either they have to make a choice, or there has to be something dramatic that's happening. And you don't really want to leave it any longer than that. And you then have to take a story and tell the story well with multiple branches, but put in all of these decisions. And they need to be real decisions. You can't just say, would you like tea or coffee? It needs to be, do you want to sacrifice your crewmate in order to save this boy? It needs to be something really exciting and dramatic, or the audio drama needs to be dramatic. My big thing is to make sure the games are very high quality and that they're big and substantial. These aren't over in 20 minutes. This is going to take you, many hours to get to the end of the story, and then you'll play it again and it will be different.
I can't wait to get mine. I shall be ordering it today, probably. So tell me about the different games you've got at the moment.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll play you a little bit, actually, because one of the things that I saw, people were trying to make recordings of it to do reviews, and people's mobile phones quite often have noise cancelling. And I heard in one of your Jubilee magazines, there was Denise did a playback, and it removed all of the music and all of the sound effects. And I had my head in my hands like, no, I've spent hours building these sound effects and this atmosphere, and it was all missing. And she was playing.
But of course, in my defense, Your Honor, I didn't know the sound effects were there either.
Yeah. So she was playing Bewilder. So Bewilder is a little girl who gets lost in a magical forest, and there's an evil scorpion queen called Scarletta and her henchman, the captain. And the captain comes in a few times where Bewilder has to fight him or run away from him. So I'm just going to play you about a minute of audio, and you'll be able to hear what it's like with the music and the sound effects. Aim now, Bewilder!
No, I will take you.
Aim again! Keep hitting him! He dropped his sword! Grab it!
I've got his sword. Let's go. Run, Whiskey.
I'm running!
You haven't beaten me yet, child. Come here.
Quick, Bewilder! Smash this sword against the entranceway!
I got him, Whiskey. He's buried under the rocks. I got him.
Ah, yes. You may have defeated my captain, but with the rockfall, you blocked your only escape. And the only way out of here is through me.
Uh-oh, it's Scarletta. Be ready with your sword. Remember, it's A to evade her scorpions, B to fight off her pincers, and C to fight her tail. Here we go. So that was Bewilder. And so Bewilder is very much a whimsical fantasy adventure. We have a game called Ice Cold, which is about a security team on an alien planet. And there is a mining complex that went bankrupt. And this small security team has been sent to do a survey of the site for the new owners before bringing it back online. So they've got to this abandoned sort of mining, and it's frozen, this world. It's full of snow and ice and rock. And they come under attack from a type of creature that holds the rock and ice against itself. It's kind of like an octopus, but it holds big pieces of ice as a shield. So when they try and shoot it to fight it, they're just blasting away at the rock and ice. And I'll just play you just a very small piece of that to give you an idea of the action as you get into a spacecraft in this moment and you're flying over the surface to try and rescue some of your teammates. Whoa, it's throwing ice!
That might be the way. If you fly close, you attract the monster's attention. That gives soldiers and tech chance to give clear. Only then will we have a chance to pick them up.
That's high risk.
We need to get the creature away from them. I'll guide you in.
Okay, I'm coming in. Danger close. So that was a moment from Ice Cold to kind of give you a sense of the action. That's more of an action game, but there's something interesting in that game. In fact, something interesting with Bewilder. When I started this, I wondered if it was possible to convert classic video games into audio. And obviously you won't be able to do them, you won't be able to make it exact, but there might be some way to do it. And I began trying different things, and I found with Bewilder, I built a maze where Bewilder is in this maze with a witch. And I was able to use the way the classic video game Pac-Man works, which is a maze and there are these ghosts in there and you have to avoid the ghosts and collect items. And it was just that idea. It worked really well. With Ice Cold, I think, I'm being modest here, but I think I did something really special, was the classic video game Tetris, which has these blocks that fall from the sky and you need to organize them very quickly. And it gets faster and faster and faster. And I took the core idea of having to organize things fast and rapid and with the fast music, and I managed to do a version of Tetris. We call it Tetris in the game. So when you're on this planet, there is a video game arcade, and if you get it powered up and you find the way to unlock the door, and you go in, you will be able to play Tetris as a special Easter egg.
Excellent. Oh, wonderful. Excellent stuff.
There's one other thing I'd like to play for you, and that's from the most recent game, which is How Close is the Ghost? So we have a little girl and she's been lost in a haunted house, and there is a rapid reaction games where there is a ghost cat called Cheese. And sometimes if you find Cheese, he will run around very quickly, and if you're pressing the buttons to chase him, and he always goes in the same route, so it's more of a memory game really. You learn his route and then you can follow him. And at the end, he will give you, he'll take you to a record, and you can put that record on the record player, and it will then summon a ghost, and the ghost will be helpful. So I'll play you just a moment of where you first chase Cheese and find a ghost called Lady Waffle.
Okay, Cheese is in the lounge and he's looking at the record player. What's this? This looks like a record. Maybe I should play it.
Lady Waffle's got a flair.
There's a ghost right in front of me.
Of course I'm a ghost, dear. I've been dead for quite some time.
Well, what? You can speak to me?
Well, of course. I can see you and everything. What's your name?
My name is Amanda.
Hello, I'm Lady Waffle.
Lady Waffle? You're a ghost?
Of course I'm a ghost.
How did you become a ghost?
There we go. So that's meeting Lady Waffle.
Excellent. Excellent stuff. I look forward to hearing those properly. So, have you considered, or do you know about the old text adventures that used to be available for DOS-based computer systems back in the day?
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, I grew up on the Sinclair Spectrum, so that was back in the 80s. I was a big fan of the Choose Your Own Adventure books. I mean, I didn't even think about this when I was developing. Something I was reminded of much later was there was a little toy robot from the 1970s called 2XL. And there was something probably the one thing that I feel pride of myself with this project is the 2XL ended up with lots of licensed material. So there was Batman games, Jurassic Park games, X-Men games. So it was all superheroes and things that were produced by other people, Doctor Who games. And I have made a conscious decision that we're going to create new stories, new intellectual property, new characters. You know, we have enough Indiana Jones games. We don't need to go and license it. Let's make new stuff. And because that just isn't done now. So we've now, it's the one thing I'm really proud of. We've got 5 absolute originals that you've not seen anything like this before.
Yeah. I thought there were 6 games now.
I'm just working on the 6th, which is called Bank Robbing Bunnies.
I was interested about your decision to not make it, not provide the Bluetooth for headphones, because that was going to be my first question. Well, not my first question, but one of my questions of what developments do you think, will there be a games version, a console version 2? Is the technical thing something you're continuing to develop?
So because I'm an electronics engineer, it's like, yeah, I'm putting in Bluetooth. I'm going to put this so you can update the firmware. I had all these great ideas. And then it was talking to Ed. And it's like, wow, okay, so someone who's now got a cognitive impairment, he can't Bluetooth pair his headphones. It needs to be as simple as possible. And I get messages. I've got a really nice one on the website that somebody sent that their mother had suffered a stroke and was suffering from dementia. And it says the only device she can use. And so it was a conscious choice not to put those things in. I have thought about making a deluxe version. You know, it would come in an aluminium case and it would have all of these things. And, but it's, I just need to get the business on its feet and get it running. And the important thing is keep it at pocket money prices.
But yeah, so you've sold 1,000 already in 10 months, which is amazing. And let's hope we can help you sell some more, because I love accessible technology, let's call it that in the broadest sense of the word. And I love it when it's at a reasonable price.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, the price thing is so with this, I thought, okay, let's make this as cheap as possible. Recently, I met reps from Humanware, and they were demonstrating this product called the Monarch. Have you come across this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's
£14,000.
£14,000. That's crazy. And I was like nobody's just going to go out and buy that for their child. And I thought I want to be as far away from that as possible. And I discovered that a lot of assistive technology, there's a disability tax. And I don't believe I don't believe it needs to exist, and I don't want it to exist, and I'm going to wash my hands of that and say, look, I'd rather just scrape by and hold my head up high and do a great product at a great price before I start price gouging people. It's just not fair, it's not right, and I'm not going to do it.
Well, Lee, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. I think we've all, lots of us will enjoy that, and that we will hopefully secure you lots of orders. But Lee, if you could just close by giving us your contact information, that would be wonderful. Then lots of people can buy it from you.
I will, yes. So you just head to the website, which is trumantoys.com. And on the website, you can order from there, and you can play videos so you can hear examples of all the games. But just to close out, I've got a nice piece of music which comes from the game Hotel of Secrets, a lovely little jazz piece that if you complete the game on the hardest setting, this is what you'll hear. So I'll close out with this, but Rob, thank you very much for having me.
But thank you very much, and thanks for your time.
Harrison X got a glint in his eye, Grace as cool as ice. Together they stroll through the shadows of night, a kingdom built on chaos, they thrive in the fright. King and queen of the city, ruling with a gun and a dangerous life. In their world there's no place for weakness, for they came from the Hotel of Secrets. From the speakeasies to the smoky back room, cards on the table, they seal another's doom. Hand in hand they rise, fear in every glance, making deals with devils, always taking a chance. King and queen of the city, ruling with a gun and a dangerous light. In their world there's no place for weakness, for they came from the Hotel of Secrets. Whispers in the dark, bullets in the air, they've got the power others wouldn't dare. Under moonlit skies the city bows, in the world of shadows they're making vows. King and queen of the city, ruling with a gun and a dangerous light. In their world there's no place for weakness, for they came from the Hotel of Secrets.